speeding bullet.
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
More powerful than a locomotive.
Hulk! Smash!
Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound.
There's more to them than meets the eye.
It's Superman!
Hey there, boils and ghouls, the one and only Chuckles the Clown here, and this is time for your reality to be non-existent, George Garner.
I never live in reality.
This is what we call fan fiction part. This is
Gotcha.
where, and I've been looking this up. I think I am the only radio jockey that does this, that comes up with two original ideas, which tonight's ideas, if you guys didn't get it from the beginning music, it's about the Guardians of the Galaxy crash landing on a planet that is loaded with xenomorphs.
Okay.
Now, never have the aliens crossed with the Marvel Universe. They have crossed with DC and
Right.
countless other comic books, but
Dark Horse, everything. Yeah.
never
Not Marvel.
Out of all the groups that you would think would encounter these creatures, would be the Guardians, because these gentlemen are constantly, they're out there in space, going after, doing what they got to do. If you're not a Guardians of the Galaxy fan, that's okay. Still stay and listen. You don't have to be a big fan of it. If you're not a fan of aliens and you're a fan of Guardians, stay and listen anyways.
If anybody's
yeah.
listening to this show, they're a fan of aliens.
That's what I'm saying. And this is the best part of this show. You, the listeners, are going to be able to come up with the ending, like we did last time with the Hulk versus Green Lantern. However, that didn't work out too well. I got more death threats than I did endings. So,
well, a death threat is an ending in a sense.
yeah, there are a lot of angry DC Lantern folks when I had the way that the story ended there. But the problem was that story was there wasn't really an ending. So if you got angry at that, that's your own fault because you didn't come up with the ending. You're lazy. Yeah, exactly. Tony Jones said it great. You're lazy. I gave you the tools to do it yourself. This time, you guys are listening. Come up with the ending. Write it down and send it to the Chuckles and Laughs Show at yahoo.com. Afterwards, I will pick which ending I like, and next time we're on air, I will read the ending, and you will receive an 8x10 signed autograph of myself. I know, big-time money, but that's all I can afford, folks. Enjoy it. Well, and I hope you enjoyed tonight's topic of Guardians versus Aliens. I know I took some time to write this down, but before we get going, I'd like to say thank you to Connecticut Comic-Con and all the fans that came down to see me for just a Sunday.
What a blast, yeah.
Yeah, that was an awesome time. I can't wait to do it again. The Clown has officially stepped foot in Connecticut and has business terms in Connecticut. What does that mean, ladies and gentlemen? The Clown is officially in the tri-state area. Not just Rhode Island, not just Massachusetts, but Connecticut. Sooner or later, I won't just be your New England horror clown. I will be your United States horror clown, and I will make it to that point.
Does that mean you're going to win the U.S. championship? Are you going to be the new face of America?
I will. Maybe I'll run for presidency next time against The Rock next time he's going and Donald Trump.
Yeah, well, I was going to point that out. First of all, we do have a United States horror clown. So you're going to have to. You have some stiff competition there if you want to take over that position.
Boy, could I get somewhere with stiff competition with some of the fans that were sending me pictures. But we won't get to that right now.
Cosplay.
Yeah, the wife will probably kill me.
Yeah, the other thing I want to point out, though, too, is you telling me that you're going to become the United States evil clown. I mean, that's not news to me because if you remember, I told you that you were going to reach that pinnacle of evil.
And I appreciate it. When I get that popular, George, you will be my official beer tester. You don't have to do a thing but test the beers that I go to in each state. Unfortunately, you might get that one or two that are skunked.
Diarrhea.
What a great night. Not only do we have fan fiction, but we have Dio on Russ, we have Guns N' Roses, Judas Priest, AC/DC, and King Diamond. This is a night of metal. That means that there's no messing around. This is pure fight tonight, and that's how I like my fan fiction.
No white boy hip-hop, in other words.
That's not until 1992, which is coming down the road, which, by the way, the 1991 did really well with the ratings. And thank you, George, for being on that, and Tony for that one. Now let's start this story out because it's a short, but it's a long one. And the Guardians of the Galaxy, as we all know it, the name's in there, the galaxy. They travel the galaxy for adventures and saving people and sticking up for folks. And a lot of times they end up teaming up with the Avengers. But this time they've breached through a hole, and a wormhole in outer space. And this time when they breach through it appears that they have come across a bunch of dead planets. There's no light to any of these planets. There's no sign of life. There's no sound. Remember the saying, in space, no one can hear you scream. Well, we're going to see if that's true with the Guardians here, because in a matter of seconds, they are clipped by a suspicious spaceship, let's put it that way. They are clipped that causes them to crash into another planet that is ice cold. So their ship, which is called the Milano, which I found out, I didn't know this, but they named their ship after Alyssa Milano. Huh. Didn't know that. There's some Guardians of the Galaxy facts for you. And that was for the movie, of course. And the ship would crash inside this snowy area. Very cold. I'm not saying like Poodle cold. I'm saying probably like Wisconsin cold. You know, you would need a jacket to come down in this area. There's no signs of trees, nothing. Just nothing but blanketed snow and where this ship has crashed. The Guardians aren't stupid. They've been to countless planets, and the first thing these guys are going to do is they're going to run. And I'll give the credit to Gamora, because if you haven't seen the movies, do, George, because the young lady that plays Gamora and puts the green paint on, she is gorgeous. They do a really good job with the female Marvel characters where you're like, well, I wonder what they look like out of that paint.
Right.
And they did a really good job with that. But Gamora would scan the area with a life source or is checking out to see if the air is breathable, and sure as hell, the air is breathable. So at this point, the Guardians will have to get out. They'll have to assess the damage to their ship. First of all, what the hell hit them? This is supposed to be a dead galaxy. So they're going to get out. They're going to check their ship out. And stuff is going to start deteriorating from there. All right, so after running the scans, and they're all walking around, they notice that the ground is unsettled. It kind of looks like it's moving. And you look to the ground, and it looks like there's possibly a frozen earthworm or something underneath moving. That's how you can see the snow moving and everything inside there. None of them to get too edgy and react to it and shoot at it, because that's the worst mistake you could do. Although at this point in time, it probably would have been the best thing they did was to shoot at it. Because popping out of the snow, yes, ladies and gentlemen, let's introduce the Xenomorph. The critter that does not need air, does not need heat or cold to survive, is basically a bug. Right? Wouldn't you say that? A self-stained bug of outer space.
Close, yeah.
Nasty as nasty can get. Adaptable as adaptable can get. They are like the cockroaches of the universe. These things would pop out of the snow. They are a clear white and blue color, so you can almost see their internal areas. They have used the snow and the cold as a way to adapt for camouflage, and the Guardians are not going to know what to do with this, first of all. They've never met this thing, so what do you think they're going to do first, George? You think they're going to pop at it? You think they're going to try to assess the situation? We'll find out. But before we do that, we're going to go down and hit some music, because I told you we would. And this is one of my favorite Dio songs, and it's Dio's Sunset Superman here on Chuckles Crypt, Rhode
Sunset Superman. Oh, anybody can. Anybody can. Sunset Superman. 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 Sunset Superman.
Hey there, boils and ghouls. Welcome back. And while we were on break, we were all talking about this, the aliens and stuff. But sure enough, if you haven't listened, we're talking, you're just tuning in, we're talking about the Guardians meets the Xenomorphs. And if you don't know what a Xenomorph is, let's say this correctly for you guys out there, it's an alien. You're not like Tony said, you're not a nerd. Why do I say Xenomorph so often? Because alien is such a boring term, and it's used for so many species.
It's a generic term.
Right.
I could use like 2 or 3 aliens to help me around here at the studio if they're looking for work.
Exactly. See what I mean?
The one standing out in front of Home Depot.
But if I say Xenomorph, everybody automatically, if you are a real science fiction nerd, know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Now, if I'm saying the Guardians, I mean the Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm not going to say the full thing the whole time we call them the Guardians. George, you said earlier that you haven't really read up on the Guardians.
No, I mean, I know what they look like. I know of them. That's about it.
I am with you on that. I am not a full-fledged Guardians fan, so don't strike me down, people listening, and we'll get back to the story in a second. I do like the movies, and I do like certain books of theirs.
Right.
But I don't go gaga and collect the whole Guardians, the Galaxy collection. I am an Avengers fan. I do enjoy when the Avengers team up with the Guardians. That's a fun series, and you're going to be seeing that down the road in the movies. So, as we said, the Guardians have landed on this ice-cold planet, and now the Xenomorphs are starting to pop up. One of the first characters to get attacked is Garou, which, if you all know out there, Garou is basically a tree. So why would an alien want to attack a tree? So they would pull this creature down. They would bite at it and find out, well, this thing really isn't anything edible. We're basically biting at a walking tree. Before these bugs would figure this out, because they're not that bright, Garou would grab them and squish them. Big mistake. Because normally the brute strength of squishing something with Garou would work to his beneficial, but squishing these aliens, not a good one, because we all know when you make an alien pop, you get the nice acidic drink with it. An acid and wood
doesn't mix.
It's corrosive, so that would definitely burn Garout's hands and whatever else was inside of it. Not enough to kill him, but enough to hurt the guy to the point where he's like, ow, that hurt. I think that would be the first words he would say after saying, I am Garou all the time. He would finally say, this hurts.
Yeah, what we need to do at some point, too, for those of us who are novice Guardians followers, is maybe kind of run down kind of like the scorecard characters and powers.
All right, let's do this.
Something like that.
I like that. I like what you were saying. Now, there are a lot of Guardians, just like there are a lot of Avengers. So I took the basic Guardians that people know. I took Drax, which is, in the movies, he's Batista. And he's like red and gray, and he's got super strength. He's not really anything to write home to mom and dad about. You got Gamora, which is one of my favorites. She's a daughter of Thanos, and she's an excellent wielder of swords and weapons, and she is very knowledgeable. And then we got Rocket Raccoon, which, out of all the characters, when I said it when I was watching this, I said, Rocket Raccoon and Drax are the stupidest characters I've ever met.
See that's one of the reasons it's hard for me to get my enthusiasm around this group.
But give it a chance, because as stupid as they are probably the best part of the Guardians.
Okay,
They are hysterical. And Rocket becomes one of those characters where he kind of grows on you.
Okay, now his origin, though, is...
He's a creation. He's a creation of what he is. He's a lab creation. Now,
okay.
He's also a master of weapons. Really good at weapons and assassination. You'd like this guy. He likes to kill things. And then you have Star-Lord, which is an everyday human being like you and me, that in the movies they have him being the son of Oa, which is a living planet, or
Ego.
Sorry, Oa was... sorry, fans. Sorry, Oa is Star... It's Green Lantern. Sorry. And then you have Groot, which is a tree. And he's very unkillable. But he's pretty stupid. He's strong, but he has all the powers of a growing tree inside of him. Really creative character. And then Mantis I put in there for the hell of it, because I thought the girl playing it...
Mantis is cool.
Yeah, and the girl that played her was hot.
Mm-hmm.
And Mantis is one of those characters that can read your feelings and everything and mess around with what you're doing inside there. So these are the ones that I have crash landed on the planet. Now, scorecard right now, not doing so well. You got a character who has squished the aliens, and he's pretty much burned his hands. Now, of course, if you guys don't know, which George, you might not know, Rocket and Groot are best friends. So if Rocket saw something happen to Groot, he would get very upset, get very trigger happy, and start pulling the trigger. And there'd be aliens popping everywhere because this guy doesn't miss. So whatever's popping to the surface, they're going to start to get popped. And there's going to be green acid mixing with snow, which is going to make visibility in this area very hard, because all the acid and the snow is going to create a fog, which is going to come up, and it's going to work to the aliens' advantage because they don't really need to see inside of that stuff. However, the humans do, and the creatures inside of there do. So that one down, they've just made the mistake of making the environment to the point where the aliens are going to be more apt to succeed than themselves. And I'm not doing this saying I'm a bigger fan than aliens. Before someone calls up the radio station and says, unplug Chuckles the Clown, he is biased against the Guardians.
Well, you know what? Let me just insert here. I think whenever you do one of these matchups, under whatever the circumstances, you can't avoid a certain little touch of bias. I mean, as soon as you have two sides in a battle, I mean, we all have a slight bias as to who we want to see win.
Of course we do.
I mean, the only way we wouldn't do that is if we just hated both of the combatants involved.
Both die.
Yeah. And a big meteorite comes down and crashes, and the dinosaurs all over. No, that's not what we're doing here. But what we are doing, we're already down one. The environment's not looking so good. So Drax decides he's going to back it up to try to get himself some cover. Backs himself up behind the spaceship, so he has himself some cover, so he can pull some weapons. And he starts shooting in every other direction. Of course, Rocket and all them are trying to back themselves up so they're not getting shot, because Drax is starting to flip out now because of this area. The next person that goes down, unfortunately, is the one that you like, Mr. Garner.
Of course it is.
Yeah, it had to be her. I'm sorry, but Mantis is the next one that's attacked. From out from on the ground, the creature pops up, tackles her to the ground there, and she stops the jaw, stops it from snapping right inside of her face. But she's holding the head, trying to feel what sort of emotions this creature has, and all she can feel.
And it doesn't have any.
It does. It has the emotions to listen to whatever's powering it to do what it's doing. So all she can feel is this thing's desire to make sure that whatever food or baiting stuff is brought back to the queen.
Now, this brings up an interesting... Let's stop right here for a second. Mm-hmm. Because now, as enthusiastic a fan of the Alien franchise as I am, this brings up a question I never really thought of. See, I've always thought of the alien xenomorphs as kind of Terminator-like, half. What would you say? The old cliche, half alive, half mechanical.
Right.
I mean, these are. I've always understood that these creatures are not. They don't have mommies and daddies. I mean, yes, they come from eggs, but they're genetic constructs, more
Right.
like the raptors in Jurassic Park. In other words, so interesting question: do aliens eat?
Of course.
What do they eat? And
Anything they can get their jaws on, they eat.
no, this is
Right.
they attack. See, they attack.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, they attack the same way that like hornets attack anything that goes near their nest.
Mm-hmm.
They have a homicidal streak in them, which goes with them being genetically improvised weapons. But when did we ever see them eat?
Well, you see it a lot in the movies. and
No,
the
they
comics.
they bite people's faces off, and they bite off arms and legs.
But if
but-
you, I know you don't like this one, but if you
No, that's
watch
not-
Aliens 3, you can
Okay.
see him actually feasting on
Okay.
the prisoner that's in the tunnel. The thing's going down,
Chewing
eating
away at
all
him.
the thing. When he comes up, there's blood all over it.
That I remember that, but I mean, but is it? But I guess it's the same question as like Godzilla. Mm-hmm. Do they eat actually because they eat for nourishment, or do they just take bites out of things just to chew them up and kill them?
I think it would be both.
No, you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
It's a meaningful question.
Yeah, I would put them under the same way of an ant. Ants kill to kill, but ants do have to eat to survive.
No, that's just, it's funny.
So-
Like this conversation brought it up. Do these alien xenomorphs actually need to eat?
So I would say I would put them on this under the same characteristics because they act very similar to an ant, where they have to themselves have to make sure that the queen is satisfied. But in the same sense, if they're not moving around by nourishing themselves, because they have organs or whatnot inside of them, they're not going to be able to do what they're supposed to do. If you are a fan of the Alien franchise, you will find also if they do not have other beings to eat, they will turn cannibalistic and they will kill each other and eat each other.
See, that makes a little more sense though, because I guess now where we're getting really nerd depth here.
Oh yeah,
But that's okay because we're on the Chuckles Crypt, right?
yep.
What the hell would an alien xenomorph eat to translate whatever it is that they take in to acid blood? You follow what I'm saying? In other, like I'm thinking of like Gamera, the space turtle, right? Drinks hydrocarbons. In
So-
other words, you follow what I'm saying? In other words,
I will
there's
answer
food,
that
there's
for you.
food and then there's food. Good, go ahead.
I will answer that for you in a little bit, but let's finish what's going on here with Mantis, and we come back, and I will answer your question on how they get acid blood. Now, as we said, Mantis she's holding the head. She's trying to stop it from eating her. We won't go down that route again. And all of a sudden, the alien's second weapon, its tail, slides up and goes through her abdominal. So she might have been able to stop the mouth from chewing her up, but she wasn't going to stop the tail. As we all know, ladies and gentlemen, aliens are killing machines. You just got to that.
Yep.
Everything on them is meant to kill. They are a superior species when it comes to killing things. Now, she was murdered by this alien, and the first thing good old the Star does is he decides to launch a round at the alien. Boom. So any chances of Mantis surviving is gone now because he just
because
exploded
she's
the thing on her.
acidically dissolved.
And she's starting to chew up. Now we're down. One guy's burned. One young lady has been eaten. And they're starting to freak out. This is a situation where they have not been inside of yet. They haven't even been able to assess these animals. They have jumped on them right away. That would tell you right there that the animals are ready to eat, and they're ready to eat anything that moves inside of there. So we're going to go down to some music, and we'll come back to, I will answer George's question, how to get the acidic blood, because I have read that inside of a book, ladies and gentlemen. Not a comic book.
We don't need no stinking
A
books on
book.
this show.
Yes.
You're fired.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Can I get an extra zero in my pension? And this would not, definitely, this situation would not be a paradise city for the good old Guardians of the Galaxy. It wouldn't be a paradise city for any of us. Neverline, Guns N' Roses, here on Chuckles Crypt, Rhode Island Free Radio.org, where we are talking fan fiction.
Take me home.
Hey there, boils and ghouls, and we are back to the Guardians crash landing on the good old ice planet loaded with xenomorphs, and it's not looking good for them, George.
No, Mantis is dead, you son of a bitch.
Mantis is dead. Garut's got his hands burnt off, and he's pretty much sitting there looking like what just happened. And now Mr. Good old-fashioned Star-Lord himself is sitting there in shock. He just caused the death of one of his partners. Foolishly, you think he would have learned after Garut squish, but I guess in the heat of the moment, stuff happens. Now, Drax underneath this ship is a little upset because Drax has a love story with Mantis. So Drax is going to react in a way that, well, you would react in a way if your loved one got attacked by an alien. He's going to try to go in head on with his fists and everything because he's stupid. He's not really bright. The big guys usually aren't.
Hey.
And sorry about that, Tony. And before you know it, he runs out from underneath the ship, and what do you know what happens? Bam! One of them drops down, pulls him up, jaw goes through the skull. No more Drax. Maybe backing up underneath the ship was a bad idea. Just a little bit, because those things, they move in such a... And like I said, they're killing machines. They would move in such a silent way where they would know that this guy is going to back up, and they would do certain things that would cause the prey to be caught, which is bait and Mantis, taking her down. They're going to react how predators react. Now they're down 2. They're starting to freak out. The level-headed one out of them all, Gamora, says, look, there's a cave over in there. She sees the formation of it, and she decides to tell all of them we need to make towards that cave because we think that's going to be a safer area. These creatures are everywhere here. What do you think?
You never go into a cave on an alien xenomorph-infested planet.
No, this is not going to be a good idea. They all run inside of this cave, and it's quiet at first, and all you can hear is the dripping of water.
And the dripping of venom from the jaws of
the aliens, and
Right.
you can hear them moving like snakes. You can hear the pipes that they're crawling on, not pipes, rocks and trees that they're crawling on starting to shift. Of course, everybody is spun up. They're out of control. They don't know what to do here. They haven't had time to levelly think how to take down this opponent. Rocket sees him starting to drop. Rocket pulls out his favorite gun, starts shooting. This raccoon has dead-on accuracy. By the way, don't ever call him a raccoon. He hates that. He will rip your jaw off. He doesn't like being. He doesn't even know what a raccoon is, and he swears if he ever sees one, he's probably going to kill it. He starts flipping out, shooting the aliens all around him, not missing a single one. This causes all this acid that he has spilt to start to eat away at the floor. The cave is not a cave. The cave is the interior to a spaceship. And what do you know what happens with all the acid in the floor? It's going to let go with the Guardians, the remainder ones, Gamora, Rocket, Garut, and Star-Lord on it. The floor comes crashing down, lands on the top of what you would call pods or eggs, squishes them, and the Guardians of the Galaxy are laying on this as part of the ship now, looking up at the open hole. The aliens are starting to crawl down this hole. This does not look good for them. This does not look good at all. If you guys are listening to this doesn't mean I'm killing off the Guardians. I'm just adding story. I'm adding suspense to you guys. You have to have it. And I'm sorry I've had the aliens win. Well, I'm not.
No, you're not.
I like aliens. They're really cool. How can you not? And they're starting to crawl around them.
The angry mob with the torches and pitchforks are starting to crawl toward this studio, too.
Well, I'll have the ones that are Geiger fans. Wait a minute. They're hippies. I'm screwed.
They're in trouble.
Says they all like the artwork and sex stuff. So, yeah, I'm in trouble.
They're in trouble.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen,
He's holding a shovel. He has been digging.
Yeah, and if you haven't ever checked out Mr. Geiger's artwork, do so. Or Giger, however you want to say it.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I said Geiger, but I don't know.
We've done this before on a show. Look it up. It is back at Chuckles Crypt. We did a whole special for him when he passed away. Really cool. But if you ever see his artwork, a lot of it is painted up to look like penises and vaginas. He was very infatuated with those articles of the body. And when you look at an alien or a facehugger, you can see these parts of the human anatomy inside of them. But back to the story. The floor has crash landed. It has landed on a bunch of pods, eggs. Gamora goes to stand up, and the first thing that happens to her is one of these eggs opens up. Not looking good, Gamora. Because the first thing that's going to happen is that facehugger is going to leap out and attach itself to Gamora's face. Now they are down. How many, George?
They're dropping like flies.
They're dropping like flies. This isn't looking good. Garut's not dead. He's injured. But
Yes, but
Gamora's
he's
not dead yet. But if you know the Alien franchise, a facehugger attached to you is not a good thing. Rocket's still kicking. Star-Lord's still kicking. So they're down to 2.5. It's not looking good.
Right.
And they only have 2 guys that have guns, and eventually they're going to run out of ammo. So they've now landed on top of this. It has caused a lot of the pods to start opening. Rocket and Star-Lord decide to start shooting first, ask questions later. Good choice, because all those facehuggers coming at you, those numbers will catch up to you. But they end up destroying them. And at the last pop of one of the facehuggers, we'll get to what's going to happen next. But I promised George I would tell him, how does an alien get
Eat.
Well,
how does
acid
how
in
does
the
it get its
stomach?
nourishment to turn to acid? Right.
Now, I read a thing on aliens' anatomy. It was inside of it's called a book, ladies and gentlemen. And this book tells how an alien gets acid in its stomach, how it turns into the creature it turns into,
Okay.
how it basically eats and all the good stuff. And,
Okay. What is the name of this book? Should I want to refer to
it's
it?
Earth Life. Aliens Earth Life. Good book. Now, when an alien facehugger attaches to the face, it is forcing a seed into the stomach of its prey.
Right.
And stomachs are full of acid. So this creature is feasting upon the acid inside the stomach to grow. And when it has ate all the acid to the point where it doesn't have any more, it has ate enough of it to form its life form to come out. Therefore, it's out of food. It's popping out of the stomach. That's why a lot of times when you see an alien eating in a comic book or in the movie, it's feasting on the stomach juices. It likes the acid stomach juice. That's how it has acid for blood. It starts off feeding off of acid. Now, this is also how it gets its shape. The amino acid inside of the stomach is a protein. And they are able to synthesize those proteins into the shapes that they get. That's why you end up having dog aliens. If it attaches to a dog, it comes out looking like a dog. If it attaches to a human, it comes out more human-like. In later comic books, it attaches to rhinos, and the things come out looking like rhinos. You get the idea where this is coming from. Whatever creature it attaches to, whatever acids it feeds off of, that's what's
Right now,
going to
this
come out.
right now that was a comic book twist, right?
That was a
That's-
book, which I'm going to take as lore, which has been the lore to all the comics and the movies. Everybody
Well, no,
has
the
fed
movies were
off this.
first.
Yes, but this explained how stuff came up and how the creature did, because before that we didn't have an explanation. No one knew.
Right.
It was
what
one
I'm-
of those things
right,
where
but
like
in
we
the-
don't know.
But in the first few movies, though, when they grew out of a human, they didn't. And there's nothing human looking about
It is
an alien xenomorph.
It's standing
other than
up.
the fact it's on 2 legs.
Right. Whereas when it eats a dog or something like that, it's on the 4 legs and it's moving around like the 4 legs. Or if it feasts upon themselves, they don't stand up. They're crawling around on the ground. It's the same thing where if, like, there's a comic book I have where a giant facehugger attaches to a whale. That's not good. That's not good at all. So you have this alien-like facehugger swimming around in the oceans. Comic books are awesome, folks. That's why we do Chuckle's Crypt. Go back and read them. Find these books. Some of them are expensive to find and hard to find, but do so because it explains more of how the creatures come to be more than the movies do. and you get a little bit of excitement. When we come back, we're going to get to the conclusion of the story, and we're going to talk about some up-and-coming stuff as well. And, of course, after this, we get the Haunted Cabaret. And you want to stay tuned for that. I'm sure there's going to be something of topic there that we're all going to love. So let's go down to, we got a soundbite here, but after that we're going to go to If You Want Blood by AC. No, sorry about that. I skipped. All Guns Blazes by Judas Priest. Here on Chuckles Crypt, Rhode Island Free Radio. Yeah, raise them devil horns there. Yeah, we'll get sued. That's a little Judas Priest there. Not a little, that's a whole lot of Judas Priest. One of my all-time favorite metal bands out there. And I am jealous because certain folks inside this room have seen them live, and I have not. I'm hoping someday that problem is remedied and I get to see them. But we're at that point of the show. It's the end, and we're going to get to the end of the story, and then we got something coming up, which is really good. And we're going to go out with King Diamond's Halloween. I mean, what's better than that? And then coming up will be the Haunted Cabaret. But we've gotten to that point. This floor has dropped. The eggs have popped. And all of a sudden, the screech of a queen alien fills the air. The queen alien comes down off her egg pod. Now the Guardians are sitting there going, crap, what is this? But before they are able to react, 3 red dots appear on top of the Queen's face. And with a moment's notice, a cannon is launched, and the Queen's face is blown right off like a zit off your face. Now the Guardians are really like, whoa, what's this? And they all back up against each other, what's left of them. Garroot picks up Gamora because he doesn't know what's wrong with her. They're going to try to save her. And they're not sure what's going on here. The guns are loaded. They're looking around. And right in front of Garroot appears a Predator. And the Predator stares him down, the Garroot, and that's where this story ends. And this is up to you, the listeners, that just listen to this whole story to come up with the ending. And remember, send it to the Chuckles and Laughs show at yahoo.com. I will read it off, your ending, next time we're on air. Which, next time we're on air, we're doing the Disney Afternoon. Who doesn't like Disney Afternoon? I know I do. What do you think, George? You didn't see the Predator coming in that one, did you?
No, I didn't.
And now, is it going to be in their odds, or is it going to be a whole nother shit show?
Well, it depends who the Predators decide to open fire on more.
Now, this is up to the listeners. This is where it gets fun.
That's what I'm just saying.
Yeah.
The listeners have options.
You have the options to come up with this. I gave you guys the full cards. Gamora's not dead yet. The cards are laid down. You just got to put them in the correct order.
One might even say, you have the power.
Oh, I love that. Thanks, George. Tony, George. Too much coffee without alcohol. Coming up, July 15th and 16th at the Assembly Theater in Harrisville, Rhode Island, Chuckles the Clown will be at Ocean State Paragon, have his own celebrity booth, along with Rhode Island Free Radio's one and only DJ Psycho Eddie and Tony Jones.
And I hear that Mr. Ken DaCosta will be making the rounds down here at Rhode Island Free Radio pretty soon to talk about the event. So.
Good. Maybe I can get him down here when we do we'll get him down for Chuckles Cryptozoology.
Then we can have him investigate the building afterwards.
Yeah, it's a really cool. I got some good stuff from there, and I always showed Tony's not going to come back into this building ever again. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the end of the show. You got one coming up. Come up with your ideas, and we're going to head things out with King Diamond's Halloween here on Chuckles Crypt Rhode Island Free Radio. I hope you enjoyed. Coming up next, The Haunted Cabaret.
With the myth, we speak of the one
Listen to the sound of footsteps in the dark, to voices that may not be quite human, to the sound of screams in the night. The Haunted Cabaret, the home of all things horror, on Rhode Island FreeRadio.org, with your host, George Garner. The Haunted Cabaret starts now.
With a purposeful grimace and a terrible sound, he pulls the spinning high-tension wires down. Helpless people on subway trains scream by God as he looks in on them. He picks up a bus and he throws it back down as he waves through the buildings toward the center of town. They say he's got to go, Godzilla. Yeah. Oh no, there goes Tokyo, Godzilla. Yeah. They say he's got to go, Godzilla. Yeah. Oh no, there goes Tokyo, Godzilla. Yeah. They say he's got to go, Godzilla. Yeah. Oh no, there goes Tokyo, Godzilla. Yeah. History shows again and again how nature points up the folly of man. Godzilla. History shows again and again how nature points up the folly of man. Godzilla. History shows again and again how nature points up the folly of man. Godzilla. History shows again and again how nature points up the
All right. That is, of course, the one and only Godzilla by Blue Oyster Cult, leading off this week's edition of the Haunted Cabaret here on Rhode Island Free Radio. With me in the studio, Chuckles the Evil Clown,
Good evening.
who has reached unprecedented heights of celebrity, as I understand it.
I wouldn't call it that, but it was pretty cool.
It was. And this all took place at Connecticut.
Yeah.
And
Good event.
It was. I mean, I wanted to be there. I picked up some kind of plague, as Tony Jones likes to say.
Which, by the way, multiple people were asking, of course. Where's George?
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
They could make a T-shirt that says "Where's George?" Make some money around here.
Yep, and my T-shirt will just say "plagued."
The two most wanted radio hosts for Rhode Island Comic Con were not there Saturday.
Oh,
I
who
wasn't
were
there
they?
and you weren't there. But Sunday was good because I picked up the ball for us and I showed up and I made sure to advertise
That's
both
good
of our shows.
because I'll tell you, I was feeling like absolute shit like the whole weekend. I didn't recover until I got some sleep at work on Sunday afternoon.
Now you're fired.
No, I'm not fired. I just recovered and
All right.
able to do my job even better.
Yeah, you wouldn't have. It wouldn't have been the best thing for you to go there though, because there was a lot of affordable collectible toys, and with that
Surrounded
new
by
house,
slot machines.
you would have been screwed.
Yes.
And there was
Yes.
a booth that had Godzilla figurines at a affordable price that I walked by quickly a couple times.
Right. In your
So-
case, it's Gamera that is your weakness, not
Oh,
Godzilla.
yeah.
But
Gamera is a big time weakness.
yeah.
Do they make other toys other than Gamera with that?
Oh, you mean Gamera's opponents and things
yeah,
like that?
do they make like the
You know what?
sword-faced one? And
You know
all
what?
that?
I've never seen them.
No.
No, it's almost like there's several figurines of Gamera, but the opponents just. You're right. That's a shortcoming, but they really don't.
One of our loves, finally, someone just make Gamera versus Godzilla, please. Right?
Well, it took years to bring Freddy and Jason together. I'm sure they're in strict negotiations now for King Kong versus Godzilla. I think the problem with Godzilla versus Gamera is they're not going to meet as equals.
No.
See, that's the problem. In other words, Daiei Studios, who owns Gamera, knows that in any kind of negotiation whatsoever, Toho has the advantage.
Of course. Godzilla is way more popular than Gamera.
Yeah. And do we really want to see Gamera in any circumstances beat Godzilla?
I would like it.
I mean, I'll tell you, it'd be a twist in the ending if he did.
Yeah, I would find it very enjoyable.
Right. But again, it comes down to this type of thing, too, of which Godzilla versus which Gamera.
Well, you obviously have to have Godzilla being the bad Godzilla, the one that smashes stuff.
Right, but what
because
I'm
Gamera's a good guy.
Right, but what I'm talking about is in terms of this movie series. I mean, is Godzilla going to be 140 feet tall in this one? Is he going to be 400? In other words, the same argument you bring to
Right.
the King Kong versus Godzilla debate. It goes double for Gamera versus Godzilla.
I'd say take the one from Final Wars, the Godzilla in that one.
Godzilla,
And
which is
that's
actually mostly a throwback to the original Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Right. Take him and have him face Gamera.
Right, and now Gamera, we have two different Gameras because we have the Gamera of the original movie from the 60s and the subsequent Gamera versus Baragon, Gamera versus Guiron, Gauss, that series there. And then we also have that trilogy of Gamera films
So
from the
good.
90s, which are actually probably three of the best, well, not just kaiju, three of the best monster movies
Those are so good.
ever made.
The only way I got those, I got them at a sale, and they were not dubbed, and they're all
No, you definitely want them subtitled.
They did not have it. That's
Nothing.
I bought it. It's the original Japanese version, just made to fit R and record on the DVD. I didn't care because the monster fights was what I was fast forwarding to.
Yeah, no, especially of those three movies, especially. I mean, Gamera, the first one, Guardian, is good.
Mm-hmm.
Then versus Legion is great. Then versus ISIS is also great. Since when was there like a 3-movie series that was all great?
Yeah.
It doesn't happen too often.
That'd be really cool.
It
Gamera
would.
versus modern day ISIS. You had to.
I think-
Now
I
we're
think-
talking.
The idea.
I think now you guys have come up with a crossover that could work.
Johnny Quest will have nothing on that.
Johnny Quest will be involved.
Or we can get the two.
Haji.
We can get the two figures, and this can be a recruit for Figure Federation.
Oh man, I'm on this.
Set up the VHS film.
Chuckles Presents is starting soon, so I need new ideas.
Now
Thank you.
now that's a 3-way that should happen, right? Gamera versus the terrorist group ISIS with Johnny Quest and Haji as the, let's say, the facilitators of the conflict. Because keep in mind, back in the old Johnny Quest cartoon, they were always jetting off to the Middle East, right? So why can't we have Johnny Quest and Haji, as the ones that find those amulets that bring Gamera to life, right? Just in time for Gamera to interrupt the ISIS creation of a giant clover leaf-like monster.
Nice. I like this. I like where this is going.
And I'm shutting the hell up right now, because why are we giving these ideas away
Yeah.
for free?
This is a good idea. You should be making this.
This is a nice one. This is in progress. All right, stop it right there. The next time I open my mouth about that idea, it's going to be for...
You know, it would be hysterical if you could do it, though. You know how they show, like, ISIS setting up the artillery, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the American artillery pound them into the ground, and they show them blow up. What if you did that, but with Gamera? You show them setting up the artillery, and all of a sudden, Gamera's turtle shell goes by and torches them while they're on the ground. That would be hysterical.
Either that, or that would be good. That would be good. What I was thinking more along the lines of, and again, I talked as far as I talked, so I'm not giving anything else away in the idea. This would just be the beginning of the idea. But, kind of dropping one of those 21,000-ton bombs on the ISIS encampment, which blasts a big hole right down through the layers of prehistory, and out comes a giant monster.
Nice. I like that. Now, this is probably a bad idea, too. I'm going to have PETA after us. It's a good thing we're on your show.
I don't fear PETA.
I was thinking about this, too. Like, Johnny Quest and his sidekick and Bandit are on their flying rug. And out of nowhere, the turtle shell goes by and catches the rug on fire. And the last thing you hear is Bandit go, bark! That would be hysterical.
Actually, that would be good. I suggested even better for us, for all you diehard Gamera fans who know who I'm talking about. What would be even better would be for the monster Guiron.
Yes.
With the bladed nose.
Yep.
To come out of that hole in the ground made by the 21,000-pound bomb. And as Haji and Johnny and Bandit fly above Guiron.
We're getting hate mail. I haven't
let's just say the next scene of Bandit is Bandit in two pieces on the desert floor.
And then they're frying him over a spit in the desert.
No, he just lays there.
All right.
just dead with his tongue hanging out. I mean, I never...
Are our lawyers ready, Mr. Jones? Are our lawyers ready for this one?
I guess I'm showing my true colors about Johnny Quest, because as much as I enjoyed the Johnny Quest cartoon, I never liked Bandit.
Yeah, I never liked the Johnny Quest cartoon. That was my worst, Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Wow. Okay. Well, I guess differences of opinion is what the world thrives on. But, I'm going to have to ask you to explain yourself at some other time. But for now, let's go to the movie for the movies. I'd like to be going to the movies right now. There's a couple I really want to see. All right. Let's go back to the music instead, though, for the time being. Let's go with. Something to Believe In by the Ramones. And what I would like to believe in is... Okay, go ahead, Tony. All right, that was Ramones, Something to Believe In, off the Animal Boy album, which, in my humble opinion, one of the best Ramones albums. Something to believe in. Something tells me that what I would choose to believe in, would probably be a lot different than the common run of humanity.
Oh, definitely. I wouldn't hang out with you if you believed in the common route of humanity. I'd be out that door.
No. I'll tell you one thing I believe is that we were talking about Godzilla versus Gamera. The Gamera in that trilogy of movies that we were talking about, the good ones,
Yep.
that Gamera could probably defeat Godzilla.
You'd have to have them because they'd have to put. No, there's no Chuckles Crypt feeling out there. Because Godzilla would have to be the bad guy.
Well, yeah, we wouldn't want it any other way, actually.
Because Gamera's always been the good guy.
Well, Gamera is in the old series. He started out a bad guy. Then, just like Godzilla, they switched him to a good guy.
The savior of children.
Right. In the trilogy, now he's not a good guy. If you pay close attention, I know you do, but people in general, if an audience pays close attention, you realize that he kills the monsters and human beings with equal enthusiasm.
As he should.
Right, because his programming.
Yeah, I mean,
his programming is to be the guardian of the earth, not the guardian of humanity. So, in other words...
Yeah, Earth's his it was like Swamp Thing. Earth's his number one concern. He doesn't care about...
Right. The reason he fights the Gausses and other creatures like that is because they threaten the earth. The reason, when humans threaten the earth, he will fight humans.
He'll squish them and eat them and become a giant snapper turtle.
What I love best is when he takes off in the burst of fire and roast people.
Oh, you know those buildings around there too are torched.
Yeah, it was in both Legion and ISIS, right? That they showed him actually do that.
Yep.
Because as a kid, even when you were watching the Gamera's Friend of Children, you knew that when he took off, there was a burst of fire.
You know what I love about these monster movies? The stupidity in the people that watch the battles. It kind of reminds me of the idiots that decided to sit down and watch the Civil War battles and were complaining that they got shot at.
Well, if you mean that the people that when Godzilla or Gamera fights another giant creature, you mean the people in the movie that watch the battles?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't criticize that. I mean, come on, as both of us would be sitting out there.
I wouldn't be as close to some of these idiots. They're so big, you don't need to be in the building next to them, standing around. I'd be sitting in somewhere where I have easy access to get out.
Well, I think the only person that was ever brave enough to be in the next building to Godzilla was Raymond Burr. I mean, he's Perry Mason.
There's a lot of idiots that were bright enough to stand there and watch him, like Godzilla 2000 when they're all up in the top of the building looking at him. No. You're in the top of the building. You're way too close. I'm going to watch you, but I'm going to watch you from a distance where I can screw. Because the end of this is you're going to get killed.
Well, yeah, especially when...
How can you spread the stories if you're dead? It's I saw Godzilla battle. Yeah, right. If you were that close, you didn't.
Now, not to go too far down the history nerd wormhole, but as history fans all in this room, it's kind of the equivalent of the Revolutionary and the Civil Wars, where people would set up picnic lunches next to the battlefield.
And then they'd wonder why people are really getting shot. Oh, Chip, that guy really got shot. It's a battlefield.
Well, at least in the Civil War battles, the spectators knew the range of the rifles. Right? I mean...
The hell they did. They sat up close. They were getting cannonballs launched at them while they were cutting bread.
That's what, so in other words, the people picnicking watching the battles actually did receive some incoming.
Yeah, they were stupid. They're really stupid.
See, that I never realized. I always thought that such audiences knew enough that if the range of the if the range of the musketry or the riflery was X, fill in the blank, which I don't know the exact number, but if the range of the rifle was X, then you sit beyond that.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember which Godzilla movie. You'd probably get this one. They're all sitting there watching the battle. Godzilla wins, and he's pissed off. So the next thing he does is he turns and looks at the people that are in the building, and he torches them.
That was Godzilla 2000.
Yeah,
Godzilla versus
I thought
Orga.
so.
Yeah, and the funny thing about that movie is Yeah, he fought the monster. Remember that was the one where the alien tried to swallow
Orgon. Awesome.
Yeah, that was the one, right. The alien tried to swallow Godzilla, which was a bad idea because once Godzilla's flesh starts to dissolve, then the radioactivity comes from within.
Right.
And that's what happened to Auger. He got cooked and burst like a microwave. But yeah, but the funny thing about that movie is I guess somebody said that we can't let it go down on such a negative. In other words, and remember that, and I thought it was just the English version, but it wasn't. It was both versions, Japanese and English. There's some stupid narrator at the end of the movie talking about how Godzilla has fought for Earth. I don't remember the exact words, but there's some hopeful message from some narrator. At the same time on the screen, what you're seeing is, like you said, Godzilla he just killed this creature, and he hasn't had enough destruction. So he just looks, and it's a great scene.
Oh yeah, I love that one.
He just looks around, turns his head, looks left, looks right. Then just the spines light up, and he just torches everything.
Yeah. What positive meaning can you get from that?
Yeah.
Like, especially the people watching a battle. You idiots! Why? That's what I say. I love that in the Godzilla movies. They're just, the Japanese folks are dumb. They post themselves up so close to the battle. Like, no, I'm not doing that.
Well, now, I guess it's dumb or courage or somewhere in between when the military does it.
Well, there's the old saying, there's no such thing as military intelligence. You're doing what you're told to do.
Right.
At a base of you're going to get shot. But
right, you're going to die, but you're buying time for everybody to run.
At that point in time, I don't care if I'm going to get shot for going AWOL. If I have fired 30 rockets at this creature, and it's not even flinching, and it's turning to look at me, I'm running.
I'll tell you, that was another great moment in the Gamera trilogy, I'll call it, with the three great Gamera movies from later. Remember there was a scene in one of I think it was Gamera versus Legion, when one of the soldiers says one of the young troops is scared. He's obviously scared. And the sergeant says, "Listen, if you have to turn and run, you do it."
Oh, yeah.
And he said, I'm like, somebody said it. He said, even Gamera can't stop these things. If you feel like you want to turn and run, you do it.
I wouldn't even need the permission.
But my point is, it was after all the monster movies, it was finally acknowledged by somebody.
Yeah, you're not going to kill these things. Why are you even trying? Just run. Except,
ironically, that was one of the few. Gamera versus Legion was one of the few Japanese monster movies where they did.
Yeah.
If you remember, it was the military actually that finished off the Legion.
Although
Gamera killed the Queen, then the military finished off the Legion.
It would be cool, however, to have a front row seat in Mechagodzilla. That would be awesome.
Mechagodzilla.
Yeah.
You're most likely to die in a Mechagodzilla fight.
Maybe not.
Maybe
if
not.
you're intelligent enough to fight the creature and get the win on it, maybe you won't die.
You mean you want to run Mechagodzilla?
Yeah, I want to run Mechagodzilla.
I thought you meant a front row seat in Mechagodzilla, as in the Mechagodzilla movie.
No, I want a front row seat in that pilot.
You want to be in the Mechagodzilla. Yeah. Do you see what happens to Mechagodzilla
I do,
at the end of every one of those battles?
He gets blown up, but at least it's cool. I could take out some towns and stuff with me.
But it's not cool. It is about 1,000,000 degrees after Godzilla melts Mechagodzilla and he's down on his face.
Maybe I could tag up with Godzilla and we can just destroy Japan together.
Actually, that happens in almost in what is it? Oh wow! I just had a glitch.
Which one is it? Is it
It's the one where I think it's the latest of the Mechagodzilla ones, where the little girl befriends Mechagodzilla and she names him Kyo.
Because Mecha has bones from the original.
Right,
Godzilla.
they made a new Mechagodzilla. Right, they used the bones, the skeleton of the original Godzilla, and so because there's the DNA in Mechagodzilla, he's subject to. Well, when Godzilla roars, they bond. And I
want to team up with that and then destroy Japan. Maybe come over and step on Obama.
Right, I was thinking more along.
Oh, can't say that. Now we're going to be the next freaking boycotted folks.
Well, Mechagodzilla's life matters.
It does.
But no, I'm thinking of speaking of the melt of million degrees, I was thinking of that other Mechagodzilla movie where Godzilla just runs amok and trashes him.
Yeah, I don't want to be that
ends up
one.
stepping on his head, and and the Mechagodzilla starts to melt.
That's the
Literally melt.
Yeah, no, that's the very badly built Mechagodzilla.
Yeah.
That's the Japanese knockoff.
Yeah, actually, the best Mechagodzilla, and I'll tell you, this would be a debate for Godzilla and Mechagodzilla fans the world over. Which Mechagodzilla do you like better? Because if you remember back in the 70s and 80s series, 70s series, the late 70s, it was Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, otherwise known as Godzilla versus the Cosmic Monster. And the Mechagodzilla was completely, it looked similar, but in the newer movies, it's completely a robot. In other words, there's a human crew in, like you said, in the control panel, in the control booth.
Wasn't one of the crew's cockroaches?
That was right. That was the original Mechagodzilla.
Yeah, thought so.
Right. And what happened was they took human brain tissue. Now, and I thought this was way better. I mean, because it makes a lot more of a destructive creature. Is rather than make it a robot controlled by a human crew, they took the brain tissue from the scientist's daughter, and they made a human. Well, it's a cyborg, a human robot interface.
Don't say that word. Cyborg. He'll
Cyborg?
show up. Yeah, don't.
Okay.
Think of a different word.
Okay, a human mechanical interface.
Thank you, because I just heard clinking out there. All right, we don't need him coming in. He'll show up. You said my name.
Yeah, and the girl, the control, you couldn't kill Mechagodzilla because the control for Mechagodzilla was in the girl. Mm-hmm. They had hidden the control in the girl, and they hypnotized her. It was her emotions that made Mechagodzilla go berserk. In other words, when she got angry, Mechagodzilla went into action.
Can you imagine when that girl gets older?
and a certain time of the month.
Oof. And she's still controlling Mechagodzilla?
Yeah.
You don't get her that Godiva chocolate you wanted?
She'll Hillary Clinton all over you.
Oh, yeah. You're getting blown it up. It is.
Right, but I thought that was way better. I mean, as far as, if you want the destructive, then you have a human mind's destructive power.
That was good, but I still like the latest one. I'm kind of biased towards that one because I thought they did a better job on the construction of the suit for that one.
Well, they did.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, yeah, they had more, yeah.
That was my favorite. Modern one was more my favorite one.
All right, then you probably like Godzilla versus King Ghidorah when they did the Mecha Ghidorah.
Oh, I love that one.
I knew you
Yes,
did.
I have actually, not a nerd talk, but I do have both Ghidorahs, the Mecha and the original, and a signed, hand-drawn picture of Ghidorah from the guy that did the concept for Ghidorah.
Nice.
So I'm a huge Ghidorah fan.
Right, my only objection now, and I hope you don't get mad at me, but on the Mecha Ghidorah that fought Godzilla, why, if you're going to have the human in the Ghidorah, why would you have the human in that bubble right at the junction of the three necks, where every time Godzilla blasts at him, that's right where the beam goes?
Again, it was
That's an
bad
obvious
design.
It was. I mean, why did you need that exposure at all? I mean, they didn't have the technology to keep her immersed in the body somewhere.
It was mass production. It was like the Russians, They mass produce the best submarines, but they forget the walls that keep the nuclear radiation from killing the sailors. They ran out of money.
overlooked the obvious.
Yeah, this is going to go. You're good. And they had to draw a lottery to see who was going in the center. So maybe that's what it was.
Maybe, but I just like I said, I just noticed that. I mean, otherwise it was a good design.
Think of this movie idea, and we probably shouldn't say this out loud because someone's going to steal it. The Battle of the Mecha Giants. Mecha Ghidorah
Versus Mechagodzilla.
versus Mecha Godzilla versus the Mecha King Kong.
And you could even throw in that Mega Guira
Yeah.
thing, robot from the Mysterians.
Think of that. Someone's going to steal this idea.
That'd
I
be
should
pretty-
not have said anything. I am sorry.
You could steal it. I'm not quite sure how you'd... I mean, other than doing the obvious of having an enemy power just take all four of them.
Yeah.
I'm saying other than that, I mean, I'm not sure what you can do with that idea.
It'd be cool. We should do
Oh,
it.
it would be. Yeah, it would definitely be cool.
Are you hearing me, Toho Studios?
But we're not letting Toho Studios anywhere near King Kong. because Toho Studios, for some reason, they make great giant reptiles. They make great dragons.
But they make googly eyed
How?
King Kongs.
How? I mean, this is not only a question asked for the first time on the Haunted Cabaret. This is a question that has been asked, kind of like, what is
This
the
is a
meaning?
question for the ages.
It is. It's like, like
They screwed it up so many times.
it is
too.
like, what is the meaning of reality? What is the meaning of ancient scrolls?
If a tree falls in the woods,
Yeah.
Does it have googly eyes like a Toho King Kong? If it's made by Toho,
And they made it so many times.
it's
like
a
the Godzilla.
friggin' Godzilla suit. I mean, it's a friggin' ape suit. They got
They did so bad. They even did other King Kong stories because they wanted to try them again. And each time, that King Kong looked worse and worse.
It did. I mean, it looked atrocious in King Kong versus Godzilla. It looked excruciating in King Kong Escapes.
Oh, yeah, it did.
I mean,
It
that
looked-
thing.
I remember one of them, it looked like a Barbie doll. the freaking King Kong, I was looking at it, and I'm like, that looks like a Barbie doll that they threw a monkey suit on.
It's something. I mean, all they got to do is just send somebody to the United States, go into a costume shop, and get an ape suit.
And they're still going to put googly eyes
and
on
they-
it when they're done.
I know. What is this thing with apes and having googly eyes? Although, you know what, though? They have a tendency toward that. Because on some of the less successful Godzilla movies, Godzilla has googly eyes too,
Oh, he
doesn't
does.
he? Some of the other giant reptiles and dragons have googly eyes too, don't they?
The earlier ones have googly eyes.
yeah.
They probably ran out of eyes, so they grabbed those cheap googly eyes that you get from the craft
Yeah.
store. Put those in.
I'll tell you, my favorite googly eyes on. I mean, obviously the ones we talked about now, but this one's for all you kaiju Japanese giant monster experts. Okay, let me bring up a movie that is I hardly ever discussed anywhere ever. Yog Monster from Space, which is otherwise known as, its original title was Space Amoeba. Okay, Chuckles, I don't know if you've ever seen this one.
I think I have.
It's about these tourist development people land on a tropical island, and what's also landed there is this energy alien, this blue. He looks like a Star Trek energy alien type of thing, and what he does is this blue shapeless energy alien gets inside the local animals and makes them giant monsters. And there's an octopus, there's a crab, and a giant turtle.
I have seen that.
You have?
I have seen bits and pieces of that.
Okay.
Yep.
Watch it again, and obviously the big googly eyes they put into the land walking octopus didn't survive too much when they submerged it in the water, because if you watch the first few scenes of the giant octopus, the eyes are fine. It's got like round glowing eyes. From about after the scene of where the octopus is in the water and the guys fight it with the spear guns, the next time you see it attacking on land, it's got all this model cement caked around its eyes.
Oh, poor thing.
Obviously, I mean, you see that some disaster befell it underwater. Like, for example, the eyes the glue letting go and the eyeballs floating out of the costume.
That's another thing. What is with Japan and killer octopuses?
They have a thing for. I'll tell you,
Yeah.
Godzilla originally was supposed to be an octopus.
I'm glad he wasn't.
I think the whole world is glad Godzilla wasn't an octopus. But you're right. They do have a thing for them. Godzilla was supposed to be an octopus originally until they turned him into a dragon. There's a giant octopus in War of the Gargantuas.
There's one in Kong.
There's one in King Kong versus Godzilla.
Yep.
There's another one indirectly in the movie Frankenstein Conquers the World.
Yes, with the big Frankenstein, right?
Right.
Yes.
And that one, that's one where they had the two ending, one of those two ending deals, because originally the original ending of Frankenstein Conquers the World was that Frankenstein was dragged into the ground by a giant octopus, not the monster Baragon. So he's supposed to kill Baragon, and then a giant octopus comes out of nowhere. Literally, I've seen this print. It just, oh my God, there's another one. With 20 seconds to go in the movie, the octopus grabs Frankenstein and drags him underground.
You think they use octopuses because afterwards, if they don't perform the way they're supposed to, they can cook them and
eat
eat them? Yeah, so it's like a movie prop and lunch all in one.
Well, the King Kong versus Godzilla octopus ended up, I'm sure, as lunch.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was, that was used. They used a real octopus.
That thing
obviously.
was big. That had to be huge. I mean, it was big enough where it was tangling up on the guy in the suit. Unless the guy in the suit was really small. But still, that was big.
They did a good job, but that was a real octopus.
Yeah.
Now it was a constructed octopus in Frankenstein Conquers the World, and then actually War of the Gargantuas was the sequel. They didn't market it as such, but Frankenstein Conquers the World was the first movie. War of the Gargantuas was the sequel. The brown gargantua was actually the Frankenstein monster, all grown up.
All right.
Okay, and that's right. And then they used, because even they realized how stupid it was to put that octopus at the end of Frankenstein Conquers the World, but they built it already, so they wanted to use it somewhere. So they put it at the beginning of War of the Gargantuas when it fights the green gargantua.
I wonder if I can buy this prop for Chuckles Presents.
I'll tell you, that would be an awesome thing to have.
Yeah, we can use it in parades. Sea Creature Parade.
Yeah, it can have its tentacles around all those naked women that are pursuing you at the conventions now.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Works for me. All right, let's go back to the music for a second. All these octopuses give me the blues. Let's go back to them. That's not the name. That's not the title of the song. That's just my.
That's a good song. Let's sing.
It would be a good song. All these octopuses give me the blues.
There you go. There's a new song idea for Tony Jones of the Cretin 3.
Instead, they will wrap around "Oh Pretty Woman," Albert King here in the Haunted Cabaret at Rhode Island Free Radio.
Oh, pretty woman, she's the right sun says on you. Cheap paint and powder ain't gon' help you none, 'cause she's a pretty woman right down to the bone. So you just might as well still leave your skin alone. Pretty woman, what's the matter with you? Can't make you love me no matter what I do. Oh, pretty woman, what you trying to do? You kept on fooling around till I got stuck on you. So you just drop the mess and come down off your throne. Stop using my poor heart for just a stepping stone. Pretty woman, what's the matter with you? Can't make you love me no matter what I do. Ah! Oh, pretty woman. Oh, pretty woman, that's all right for you. Now you just go on doing what you wanna do. But someday, when you think that you have got it made, you can't water deep in love, so you can't wait. Pretty woman, what's the matter with you? Can't make you love me, yeah, no matter what I do. Oh, pretty woman.
All right, that was a little Albert King singing the blues, "Oh Pretty Woman." And I'll tell you, best reason for us to sing the blues around here is this show only has, 15 more minutes to go.
Wow, it went by so quick.
I'll tell you, time passes when you're talking about something fun.
Yeah, fan fiction on Chuckles Crypt, that went by quick. This one we're talking about.
Well, we're talking about Japanese monsters.
Yeah.
I mean, who can't love it? Plus, this is good for the ratings, too. See, I'm commercial enough to appreciate the fact that every time we do a show about the Japanese monsters, whether it's Godzilla or whoever it is, we get really good ratings.
Well, how can you not? They're good movies.
Yeah.
They've stuck around this long for a reason.
They have. And one thing I want to mention, we touched on the Japanese King Kong movies as an example of something they shouldn't have done. And I mentioned Yog, Monster from Space. Right? There's also quite a few other Japanese one-shots. Monster movies that, they don't involve Godzilla. They don't. But I made a couple of notes of that. Now, some of these are good. Some of them are awful. I mean, I'm not talking about quality here. So we have both. But just for everyone that loves Godzilla and everyone that loves Gamera, and here's some that you might not have seen unless you're a fanatic such as us. But check these out if you get a chance. One is called Varan the Unbelievable. Okay, Varan, just one movie. He made a brief one-scene appearance in Destroy All Monsters. Other than that, just one movie featuring that monster. Okay, Majin, Monster of Terror, which there was 3 movies about this, the Japanese samurai war god. It was by the same company that made Gamera, but you wouldn't know it. The production values are really good, especially the first movie. And this is another movie where you don't have to be a giant monster fan to enjoy it. It's Japan in the days of the samurai and an angry war god. I mean, you have to like it. Then from the really good to the ridiculous, there's the X from Outer Space, which has my vote as probably the silliest. And I'm including Son of Godzilla. Probably the silliest giant monster movie the Japanese have ever produced, any of their companies. Check it out, though. I mean, smoke some devil's lettuce, as Tony likes to say. Before you watch this movie, you will hurt yourself. Yeah. Then, Atragon. Okay. Now, Atragon is actually not a monster, but it's the name of a submarine. And this was revived. This was the movie was from the 60s. It was revived for the Godzilla Final Wars. The submarine in Final Wars, which I forget the name of it, it wasn't Atragon.
I don't remember either.
I don't think, no. But the idea of the hunter-killer submarine in Final Wars with the brave commander, and that was taken from Atragon. It was a reboot of Atragon. And it included Manda. Manda is actually one of my favorite monsters. It appears in only 3 movies. 1, the original Atragon. 2, Destroy All Monsters, which is the only time it ever gets to do some city-destroying destruction. And then in Final Wars, where the submarine freezes it to death, just like they did in the original Atragon. Manda is a giant sea lizard who's always getting frozen to death.
Poor lizard.
That's why he quit after 3 movies. He said, "The hell with it." He quit after 2 movies. Then
they promised him not
to
to freeze him
promised not
again.
to freeze him in Final Wars,
and they did it.
Yep, he saw that thing aiming, the freeze cannon aiming right at him, and that was that for him.
He said, "My contract's up. I'm out of here. Go hire Miley Cyrus for your next one, pal."
Exactly. Then Yog, Monster from Space, I mentioned. And actually, a little for H.P. Lovecraft fans, the name Yog, that monster was actually given the name Yog in tribute to Yog-Sothoth, the Lovecraft created
really cool. I did
demon.
not know that.
No, just a bit of trivia for you. I didn't know that either until there was an interview with the creators of the movie. And they said, when they decided to title it for American audiences, that's, Yog for Yog-Sothoth. They said Lovecraft was really big at that time. The end of the 60s, beginning of the 70s. Then the only other one I want to mention, which is worth a watch, it's called Dogra the Space Monster. And I don't know if you've seen this one. This is a more obscure one. This is about a giant space cell. It has tentacles. It floats in the clouds. It's green, and it has these long, waving, Cthulhu-like tentacles. Closest thing to a Lovecraft creature that you're going to see in movies. So, not a great movie all the way through, but it's got its moments. And the scenes of this creature, in the black storm clouds with the tentacles coming down from the sky to grab the bridge, and you'll see. Check this out, Dogra the Space Monster. One of my recommendations. We're drastically running short, aren't we?
Pretty much a matter of picking what tune you want to play last.
Saying goodnight and picking a tune. All right, let's go. Let's go with Dimmu. Let's do a little Dreamside Dominions for Chuckles the Clown and everybody else
We've
out
been
there.
I
working.
love
We've
them.
been working together for so long that I knew that was the track you were going to pick.
Well, it's dedicated to Chuckles and all you other satanic
Into Yog.
anti-Yog. All right, so until next time, George Garner saying nighty-night.